Welcome to this second lecture on Deontology, Theory and Ethics. This is the second theory behind Deontology. Last meeting, we talked about the divine command theory, which equates ethics with religion and identifies what is good with what God commands or God wills. Now, we talk about another theory behind ontology called the natural law theory. So by contrast, what's the difference between the divine law command or the divine law theory in ethics and the natural law theory? In divine law theory, the basis for what is good is actually a supernatural law, external to the world itself. The source, as it were, is God. For the natural law theory, it recognizes that there is something in the universe, there is some order in the universe that pervades all, including us, humanity. We call this the natural law. Now, human reason alone can access this natural law. Not only access, but understand it as well. That means there is one such law, natural, in all the universe, in the entire universe, that governs all things in the universe. And we just have to know it, to understand it, and our human reason can access it. And this is the basis for morality in this theory. So the difference is very simple. For the divine command theory of deontology, the rule violated by a bad action or a wrong action is based on God's command. For this theory, we are basing morality on the natural law, which reason alone can understand and access. So this view argues that morality is part of the natural order of things. So it's not supernatural like the divine command theory, such that certain actions are right by nature, apart from the opinions and practices of humans. Other actions are right by custom or convention. So, for example, customs and traditions like mano po or some rituals for the dead, these are right behavior but not by nature. These are right by custom or convention. The natural law theory argues that there are actions that are actually right by nature, regardless of opinions. So even if there are no people left in this universe who will regard that this or that action is right, even if there are no more opinions being offered, even if there are no humans who practice this action, this right action, these actions will still be right regardless. Okay. So that is the view of the natural law theory. It can identify actions that are right in itself or by themselves, regardless of consequences, regardless of its results, regardless whether there are humans who believe that these are right actions or not. So we can discover moral principles by understanding the nature of humanity and society using reason. The basis then for morality in this theory is based on human nature. The very first who identified morality with the natural law are the Stoics. They refer to nature as the natural order as a whole, or the cosmic nature. So there is in nature a fundamental cosmic principle that governs and unifies everything in the world. So if you look at the universe, it is composed of a lot of things, a lot of varied forces, as it were, that you must wonder how these different things actually work together and make up the entire universe. There is order in the universe. Okay? And this order, for the Stoics, is rational. So to reason or to act rationally, therefore, is to be in harmony with the universe. Point, only humans appear to be rational. So if the entire universe has this cosmic principle that governs and unifies everything in it, and this order is rational, when human beings act rationally, they act in harmony with this cosmic principle. I hope you are getting the point of the Stoics here. They wanted to know how to base right actions, how to justify that these actions are the right ones and those actions are the wrong ones. And their basis is the natural order in the universe, which is rational. So if this natural order that governs and unifies everything is rational, therefore, to act rationally is to act in harmony with nature, with the universe. Rationality, therefore, the human capacity, is a key to living a moral life. Okay? So, there is no chaos in the universe because there is order in the universe. This order is rational. So, what is right action among humans? Right action is no other than acting rationally in harmony with the order in the universe as nature orders it. This makes violence and vice as consequences of irrationality, for that matter, and not being in harmony with the universe and its laws. Stoicism is founded by Zeno of Citium, and the term Stoicism is derived from his school on the Stoa, or Greek for porch. So wisdom is the ability to control what human ability can and accept with dignified resignation what had to be. Well, this is another part of Stoicism that we won't be talking about anyway. But wisdom for them is the ability to control human ability. Okay. The model for Zeno was Socrates' serenity and courage in the face of death. Remember when Socrates was sentenced to death, Socrates accepted it with calm. Okay. Events are beyond our control, but our attitude towards them is within our control. We cannot change events in our lives. They are beyond our control. What we can change actually are our attitude towards these events that we cannot control. Our attitudes are actually within our control. The Stoics' view of the world is materialistic and an ordered arrangement of persons and things, each having a purpose and pervaded with reason and law. So the whole of nature then is filled with reason. Natural law is the behavior of matter in accordance with this principle of reason. So nature has a purpose, it has an order. Okay? And the concern of moral philosophy is to relate human behavior to this order of law in nature. So the concern of ethics here, according to the Stoics, is to relate human behavior to this order. Okay? To relate human behavior to this law in nature. So the image here is, according to Epictetus, another Stoic, is like humans, like actors in a drama. See, actors in a drama have predetermined roles. They did not choose these roles. These roles in a drama were given to them by the directors. Okay? All the actors had to do is to embrace the role given them. Okay? So this is the image of the universe and human life for the Stoics. It's like a drama, and we were already given roles. Okay? All we have to do is to accept with dignified resignation what has to be. And we have to perform our given roles properly. Another important theorist on the natural law theory is Thomas Aquinas in the Middle Ages, and considered as one of the greatest exponents of natural law in the medieval period. So he synthesized the Stoic notion of natural law and Aristotle's view of nature, purpose, and function. We will have a separate discussion on Aristotle in our virtue ethics discussion. But for Aristotle, human beings are by nature rational. Rationality is what sets humans apart from other creatures. This then points to our proper function, or in Greek, ergon. So basically, the proper function of human beings coincide with our specific unique property. So what makes us different from other creatures? What makes us unique? What sets us apart from other creatures is rationality. Our proper function then as human beings, as rational by nature, is to behave rationally. Quote unquote, what is naturally proper to every creature is the highest and pleasantness for him. This means, for Aristotle, what is naturally proper for every creature is the highest and pleasantness for him, referring to ito yung pinaka-good sa kanya. And so to man, this will be life of reason, as reason is, in the highest sense, a man's self, including women, of course. Aquinas then asserts that humanity's function is to exhibit in their daily living this rationality in all its forms: contemplation, deliberation, and action. So reason enables us to discover the natural laws, which are universal rules. Now the picture is getting clearer. We need rules to guide moral action. For the natural law theory, these rules that guide human action are grounded, founded, discovered in natural laws. Aquinas identified a fundamental precept of the natural law. So ito daw yung pinaka-basic. The good is to be done and promoted, and evil avoided. So basically, do good, avoid evil. Ito yung pinaka-basic. Okay? All human beings understand this. All cultures accept this. That we all have to do good and avoid evil. But what are these goods to be promoted or avoided? Or bad, avoided? All those things to which man has a natural inclination are naturally apprehended by reason as good, and consequently as objects of pursuit. So yung mga good daw, sabi ni Aquinas, ay yung meron tayong natural inclination as apprehended by reason. Meaning, all our natural inclinations are good, and therefore must be objects of pursuit. And their contraries, yung kabaliktaran nila, are evil. Ito yung mga objects that we avoid. You connect that, of course, with this basic precept as Aquinas suggested. Okay? The good is to be done, and objects of pursuit, and the evil avoided, as objects of avoidance. The good, therefore, is acting in accordance with natural inclination. So, yung good daw, naka-base yan sa ating natural inclination. Meaning, we already have a natural direction towards the good. We can feel it. We understand it. Reason can show us which of our various inclinations are part of our true nature. Well, the problem here is, how do we know that it is natural, yung inclination natin? Because there are times na we are inclined towards that which is artificial. Okay? According to Aquinas, well, that's the role of reason. It will show us, no, the various inclinations that are natural and those inclinations that are not. Example here are desire for life and procreation as very basic inclinations, followed by knowledge and sociability as intrinsic values. Okay. Then let us see. So how do we understand actions based on the natural law theory? The natural law theory falls under moral absolutism, the claim that certain kinds of actions are always wrong or always obligatory regardless of the consequences. This is basic deontology, no? That there are actions that are really, really evil regardless of the results. There are actions as well that are really, really good regardless of the results or consequences. We call this moral absolutism. Why? Kasi na-identify na yung mga actions na talagang mabuti at yung mga actions na talagang masama. Okay? Absolute na yon. Hindi mo na pwedeng, wala nang tawag nito, wala nang wala nang areglo. Okay? Masama talaga yan. Wag ka na magdahilan. Yun ang point. So, none of these values that proceed from natural inclination may be directly violated. So, let's say, for example, desire for life. Okay? Iyan yung pinaka-basic, halimbawa, na in-identify ni Aquinas. Ang sabi dito, okay, any values that proceed from natural inclination none of the values may be directly violated. So, the desire for life must not be violated. So, a life, therefore, cannot be sacrificed even if it can save more innocent lives as a consequence. I hope you remember yung moral dilemma natin on the yung city na may riot. Okay? And some of you decided na wag nang hulihin yung homeless at magpanggap na siya yung pumatay. Okay? Others would want to do that too. Kasi ano ba ang kapalit? Pag nag-riot yung mga kaibigan nung napatay, it would cause a lot of lives naman, no, and destruction to property. And kung magpapanggap lang yung homeless, sasabihin mong siya yung pumatay, at least one life lang yung mamamatay. Okay, for a natural law theories, hindi ito pwede. Kasi desire for life is so basic that it cannot be sacrificed even if it can save innocent lives. Another example, since desire of life is the most basic, what follows from there is actually procreation. Okay? Hence, the procreative function must not be violated even for reasons such as family planning or protecting the mother from cases of risky pregnancy. Kung very important yung procreation and it follows from the desire for life, then you cannot sacrifice it for the sake of other goods. For example, ito, very important na case ito, no? Risky pregnancy. May mga times na the mother is not healthy enough to be pregnant, no? Yung mga eclamptic ba tawag na? Or yung mga halimbawa may tumor sa uterus, kailangan ng maoperahan, okay, because if not, both the mother and the child would die. But in the process, no, of saving the mother, most likely the child will die. Yan ang mga problema, no. So if you are a natural law theorist, medyo hindi pwedeng i-sacrifice yung buhay pa rin ng bata, whatever the result is or whatever intention you have in mind. So that means the moral value of these basic and natural inclinations have more weight than other values. So remember, ang basis dito is natural law. That means what follows from the natural law are the most basic values. These are the most basic values from which later values can also follow from. So, hindi pwedeng i-contrast mo yung mga pinaka-basic na values na to, like right desire for life, ilalaban mo yan sa other values, kaya you would argue that I can sacrifice a life for the sake of higher of other values. Hindi pwede, kasi pinaka-basic yan sa natural law theorist. Okay? Basic values cannot be measured. That's another thing. Quantified or compared by some common unit. Hence, these values cannot be traded off with other values as you do with physical goods. Ito kasi usually yung tendency natin is we measure yung goods. So, example, a life cannot be expressed into a unit of measurement equivalent to the number 1. Another lives at stake as 5 other lives, so that we put more value on 5 lives over 1 life and be willing to sacrifice therefore the 1 life for the sake of several lives saved in the process. A deontologist therefore would not risk 1 life to save many. Killing will always be morally wrong regardless of the consequences. Okay, remember the trolley problem, no? When you are given a choice if you are to save the single person or the 5 workers on the other lane, just in case you would choose to save the single person. Okay. For the deontologist, hindi mo pwedeng timbangin yung iisang buhay laban sa 5 buhay, and as if the numbers 1 versus 5 will give us the connotation na mas matimbang yung 5 versus 1 kasi values cannot be measured. So for the deontologists, hindi pwedeng isa-sacrifice mo yung isang buhay kahit na mas marami masasave after. Ito problema. What happens when several values are in conflict? For example, self-defense, in which you must violate the attacker's right to life to save yours. Dalawang buhay ang nag-conflict dito, no? Yung life nung hold-upper tsaka yung life mo. For natural law theories, there are 2 principles used in cases of values in conflict aside from precedence from the basic natural inclinations. So these are the principle of forfeiture and the principle of double effect. These are cases only pag nag-conflict yung dalawang values. Okay? So, sa principle of forfeiture, a person who threatens the life of others forfeits his or her own right to life. So, under the strict conditions, the killing of a hostage taker is permissible because he has forfeited his own right to life by threatening the life of another. Siyempre, hostage taking, may time na talagang the cops must make a choice to avoid further harm. And that's when they would choose to kill the hostage taker, in the process saving the one being hostage. No? If you remember, deontology, sabi natin, hindi pwedeng sacrifice yung 1 life. Dito, sa hostage taking issue, nagko-conflict yung dalawang value. Hindi lang sila magkaibang value, same value. Life of the hostage taker and the life of the one being hostage. Pero magkaiba yung dalawa. no? Attacker yung isa. And by attacking and threatening the life of another, the principle of forfeiture would permit under strict conditions. No? Hindi naman basta-basta trigger happy. Uy, may hostage taking, patayin natin yung hostage. Hindi ganun. Under strict conditions. Yung talagang wala nang ibang choice kundi talagang patayin yung hostage taker to prevent more harm. Now, that is permissible. Like, ikaw, police ka, nabaril mo, pinaril mo, kapilitan. No, ngayon, iniisip mo, nako, may kasalanan ako, patay ako ng tao. Under the principle of forfeiture, sasabihin ng mga ethicists na yan, okay lang yan. Permissible yung ginawa mo because, by principle, when a person threatens the life of another, that is tantamount to forfeiting his own right to his own life. Another thing here is the principle of double effect. So, ano ba tong principle of double effect? These are cases when an action has two unavoidable effects. May mga ganun kasi, no? So, there are actions that have two unavoidable effects. And these effects are either good or bad. And you really cannot choose, no? Pag pinili mo yung choice A, may maganda at mabuti siyang result. Or mabuti siyang action pero may masama ring mangyayaring action simultaneously. No, yun yung problema nito. Okay? The other one is good, the other one is morally bad. Example, a pregnant woman is diagnosed with a cancerous uterus and has to undergo hysterectomy to save her life, but that would terminate her pregnancy and endanger the fetus. Notice that under this situation, there are two actions here. Actually, there's only one. Pero dalawang effect. Ano ang effect nito, no? Save her life and terminate pregnancy. Yan yung dalawang effect niyan eh. Hindi pwede magkahiwalay yung dalawang yan. The process, no, that could save the mother is the same process that can kill the child, the fetus. Okay? Yan yung double effect. Kaya siya tinawag na double effect kasi dalawa yung effect na unavoidable. Okay? Notice as well that this one appears to be good. And this one appears to be bad. Okay, kaya tinawag yan na dilemma din. Nang pag pinili mo to, obligado, mangyayari din ito. Diba? Parang pinili mo rin yung bad. Okay. Now, this is a very complex issue and there are conditions to permit these cases. Let's go over those principles that ethics has laid for us and guide us in cases of double effect. So, natural theories establish four conditions that must be satisfied to make an action morally permissible in cases of double effect. First, the nature of the act must be good or morally permissible. Okay? Example natin kanina, hysterectomy. Iyon naman talaga yung action eh. And hysterectomy is morally permissible. So, the action itself must be morally good. Okay? Yun ang unang-una. Second, the bad effect must not be the means to achieve the good effect. Okay? Halimbawa, para masave yung mother, i-abort yung baby. Ayan, hindi siya double effect. Okay? Kasi, ang means to save the mother is to remove the baby. Pero very clear naman na hysterectomy is not a procedure that removes or kills the baby. Unfortunately lang na unfortunate consequence lang ng hysterectomy, yung madadali talaga yung baby doon. No? So, the abortion is not a necessary step to cure the cancer of the mother. It is only an unfortunate effect. So, if that is the case, okay, pwede pa siyang double effect. Third condition, the intention must be to achieve the good effect. Ang nasa isip dapat ng natin when we engage on this is the good effect. Gusto nating buhayin yung nanay. Never mo dapat na isipin na I wanted to abort the child to save the mother. Hindi ganon, no? The bad effect is the unintended effect, even if foreseen. Baka kasi ma-confuse kayo, no? Magkaiba yung foreseen and intended. Okay? Pwede naman kasing unintended because hindi mo talaga alam na mangyayari. Unintended yun. Pwede rin, nakikita mo nang pwedeng mangyari, foreseen. Pero pwede pa rin unintended. Hindi pa rin yun talaga yung intention mo. Meaning, foreseen and unintended is still consistent. Yeah, still consistent. Hindi sila contradictory cases. So, dapat, yung abortion is unintended. Tapos, make sure na wala nang ibang procedure to save the mother other than hysterectomy. Again, it should be the last course. From the second condition above, it is an unfortunate effect, yung abortion. Hindi siya talaga intended. And fourth, the good effect must be greater than the bad effect. Diba dalawang effect? Dapat mas matimbang yung good effect kaysa bad effect. Or at least man lang equal. Okay. So, yung example natin is nabuhay yung nanay, namatay yung baby. So, medyo equal sila. Baka sasabihin ninyo, nagbiagmet nga nabayag ginanangan. Bigyan din ng chance yung baby. Again, do not quantify. For the natural theorist, hindi mo kina-quantify yung good. Hindi pwede nabigyan ng values like number or magnitude, no? Okay, so those are the 4 conditions for a moral situation to be a valid double effect. And in case, syempre sa double effect may bad consequence, the bad consequence will be morally permissible provided that all these 4 conditions are existing. Okay, so that ends our natural theory discussion in deontology. Okay, thank you.